All right, guys, we made it to chapter 10, personal relationships and wellness. Let's dive right into this. Simply put, we have more than ample evidence that social connection is crucial to human wellness. It's a universal belief that an absence of loving and the lack of intimate relationships have an adverse effect on humans. Military and prison officials who have administered solitary confinement have known this reality far before any empirical evidence has supported it. Now, a consistent body of literature shows that social isolation and connectedness have profound short and long-term effects. These effects begin in childhood and build momentum throughout one's life. Research indicates that strong social connections have led to an increase in longevity as compared to those without positive social connectiveness. Other studies examine social relationships and physiological consequences. Those with few or no social relationships saw an increase in blood pressure, in their heart rate, in their body mass, heart disease, cancer, and inflammation. There is ample and compelling evidence that it is not good for man to be alone. Now, one's social network consists of a combination of friends, family, classmates, teammates, and coworkers. The likelihood of those individuals providing assistance when called upon determines that individual's social capital. The more friends and family that have your best interest in mind, the richer your social capital is. Relational connectedness is deepened each time we interact positively with individuals in our social network. These positive interactions strengthen our ties and increase the likelihood of mutually supportive relationships. Collective connectedness comes from a feeling that you belong to a community larger than yourself. This begins with family and early childhood experiences that have enormous power to shape our lives. Now, it's very important that a child has a nurturing family that teaches them how to relate to others. If this support is not present, future relational difficulties can often emerge. Erikson's model of psychosocial development illustrates this point. The first stage that a child encounters from birth to 18 months of age is the development of trust or mistrust. This is a crucial time in which an infant is gauging whether parental support is available for the meeting of one's basic needs. If care is present, then trust is developed. In its absence, infants develop a deep sense of mistrust that will affect how they relate to others, often throughout one's life. Parental guidance is particularly paramount in the first 3 stages of a child's development, but also can seriously influence the 4th and 5th stages as well. Most college students find it difficult to realize and understand the power that one's family of origin exerts on their identity, their values, and relationships. Consider for a moment how your life has been affected both positively and negatively by your family. Now, attraction is how relationships initiate and often are formed. Social scientists study this process to better understand what factors lure individuals to repel individuals from one another, what attracts people, what keeps you away from others. Current attraction theory suggests that a multidimensional model is necessary to predict when attraction occurs. Some of the factors that have received significant attention are proximity, similarity, and physical attractiveness. Proximity: the more we see people and interact with them, the greater the chances of relational connectedness. For example, students living in the same dorm have a greater chance of developing a relational connection than students from different residence halls. Similarity: studies indicate that similarity of all sorts, whether it be background, life goals, physical appearance, religious faith, attract individuals to each other. Humans tend to form long-lasting relationships with those who they consider to be their equals in terms of physical attractiveness. Now, when attraction occurs, romantic relationships may form. One classic model of how romantic love is developed, called the triangular theory of love, comes from psychologist Robert Sternberg. Intimacy involves self-disclosure and the level of emotional support individuals share. Passion includes physical and emotional attractiveness. Commitment involves the reliability and trustworthiness people share. The ideal type of love is a model in which all three elements are fully alive. Romantic love is when there is intimacy and passion, but no commitment. This occurs often when relationships are blossoming. They are filled with physical passion and emotional intimacy, but lack the enduring commitment. On the other side of the triangle is companionate love, where there is intimacy and commitment, but no passion. This type of love is often characterized in long-term marriages when the passion has subsided. Despite the absence of passion, couples who experience this type of love often report very satisfying relationships. Fatuous love is where there is passion and commitment, but no intimacy. This is also called fantasy love because it represents couples who have a fantasy of what love looks like without real emotional depth. Whirlwind courtships and marriages are good examples of this type of love because they often represent individuals who are immediately drawn to one another and have a desire for a long-term relationship, but who lack the emotional bond to make it work. Technology plays a part in relationships. Advances since the early 2000s have radically changed the way we interact. The wide availability of internet access, personal electronic devices has made it possible to stay in touch when we cannot be physically together. This technology has been very evident during this pandemic. We haven't been able to socialize, meet physically, so we've had to turn to technology to help us stay in touch through Zoom, through Skype, through FaceTime, and other social media channels. Society had to turn to online shopping to meet its needs. Social media platforms helped small businesses promote themselves, trying everything possible to stay in business. Before the pandemic, many were concerned about the growth in isolation and anxiety that seemed to result from an increased use of smartphones, iPads, and laptops. We have yet to understand the prevalence of technology that it has on human relationships, whether it be positive or negative. iGens, or the first generation that has spent its entire adolescence age in the smartphone era, spend less time face-to-face with friends who are obsessed with safety, are focused on tolerance, and have little patience with inequality. iGens are growing up more slowly than previous generations as they are less inclined to get a driver's license, they don't date as much, and they delay getting a job as compared to that of previous generations. Those whose screen time exceeds 2 hours per day are reported to have an increased rate of depression, anxiety, loneliness, and suicide. Now, spiritual practices for enhancing relationships. Practice 1, embrace your identity. Identity is who or what a person is. Most young adults who attend college self-identify as students. What you primarily identify with matters to you and others. It goes a long way to the quality of relationships that you will have with family and friends. Practice 2, honor and respect others. Respect is one of the life skills that is not instinctual. By learning respect, children move from I am the center of the world to I am one person among many. This transference is an essential foundation to all relationships. Honor and respect starts with parents and extends to all members of God's family. To honor means to put value to something, to consider it precious, weighty, or substantial. It means you need to put value on your friendships and your relationships. Honor them and respect them. Practice 3, choose to forgive. Forgiveness is linked to both identity and respect. For example, I am a Christian. This is my identity. Second, I believe that God's children are equal in his sight, which bolsters respect not only for myself, but for others as well. God's plan regarding personal offenses. As God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, forgive each other as the Lord has forgiven you. Colossians 3:12-13. Human needs social interaction to grow and feel safe. Isolation leads to both short and long-term effects. Love matters. Relationships matter. Healthy relationships start with family and friends and classmates, and helps you grow and learn to respect themselves and respect others. Technology plays a big role how today's society communicates with each other. Face-to-face is no longer an option. However, it cannot compete with old school methods of just picking up a telephone and calling somebody and talking to them, or better yet, visiting friends face-to-face. Intimate relationships depend on commitment and respect. Humans are drawn to others that are similar to themselves. We tend to attract people with similar backgrounds, life goals, physical appearance, and religious beliefs, for example. Our personality and life experiences help shape who we are. Finding out who we are and our purposes in life. Personal relationships are crucial to our overall health and wellness.